teaching have you stressed? Need to laugh off that disaster of a parent-teacher conference? Ready to indulge in those I wish I could say that moments? You're in luck, because you've just pressed play on the top-rated teacher comedy podcast on the planet. It's time for Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. Here's your host, the teacher comedian himself, Devin Siebold.
Hey-o, Crying in My Car podcast for teachers. My name is Devin Siebold, and I've got my good buddy, Mr. Greg the Angry Texan Parrot, in the house.
Morning, America.
Doing all right, buddy?
Yeah. It's doing
awesome, man.
A lot better.
Good. We'll talk about that in just a second. Shout out to the Patreon members. I know. I do want to hear about you. I'm concerned. I'm just kidding. Patreon members, new Patreon member Kaiser. Good to have you on board. And looks like Jill is on board with us. Cindy is on board with us. And Dale is on board with us. So shout out to you all. Thank you for becoming Patreon members. Patreon.com/crying in my car. You get bonus episodes. You get the videos in advance. You also get some cool little perks like tickets. Tickets are really good because I'm telling you right now, I have a meeting this coming week, and you're going to want to be on board for the tickets. You're going to want to be on board for the tickets if what I think comes out of the meeting, and that's about all I can say about that. So anyways, Greg, how you been, buddy? To talk to you.
Yeah, it's been an interesting week.
Yeah.
You know, the drama unfolds in the courtrooms, and then there's just
drama at work and drama everywhere for
gosh.
you. Huh?
Yeah, it's just, golly, man, people can't get along anywhere. It just seems like there's just a foulness in the air.
There is.
And for anybody that plays golf, it's all mental until something gets in your head and you can't get it out.
Mm-hmm.
And you have
like the golf ball that Greg shanked on hole 4.
I had just a complete meltdown. This guy was worried about me. I was like, by the 8th hole, I thought there needed to be like a psychiatrist.
I called Kate.
Couch.
I called Kate. She's like, "How'd you play?" I said, "I played great." She goes, "How did Greg play?" I was like, "I don't think I've ever seen him play worse."
Yeah, I was mad. I threw a club for the first time in like 10 years.
And a ball.
Yeah. The ball, though, was really good. I couldn't believe, I played outfield in college, and I was able to really crow hop and throw it. I mean, it was a beeline.
You just picture everything you've seen on Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Where he gets mad and throws stuff and starts yelling and screaming and cussing. Yeah. That was Greg.
It was. It really was. It was. And it just came to the point where, like, one hole I just gave up. I said, I'm done. And I just walked off, and Devin made this amazing play. He's like, hey, usually Greg celebrates with
I know.
Me,
I was mad because I was having like a great game. I was hitting par,
he's
putting for birdie.
Donkey drives too, man.
And Greg's just over there kerfluffling, or if that's a word. He's kerfluffling in the corner.
I don't know what. Yeah.
Rabble.
He's
not happy.
I don't know, just the stress of just life coming up, like wedding plans and all this other.
But that's when you should excel, because you put all that stress into the ball. You see the face. You got to. I'm telling you, man, you got to water boy it. You get mad and then slam it and hit the ball 400 yards.
Well, I feel good because I'm going to be playing with our buddy Mike Lee today. You were also on the list, but you do have a lot of stuff
to do.
This was going to be a redemption.
I'm moving.
But I've got the dark side of the force with me, Keith. When Keith plays, I always play better. I don't know why. It's just one of the, like, you play really well when you're with Tom sometimes, so that's going to happen.
Good.
And I will say this weekend was also very humbling as far as Veterans Weekend.
Hold on 1 second. Before we get into that, I do want to say one more thing about golf. On the 18th hole, you hit a ball that went directly at a man. And I mean, this could not have gone any more directly at this man. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to hit him.
He was facing me, and it went over his head and landed between him and his buddy's cart.
You literally said 4, yelled 4, which means on the golf course, if I hear 4 coming at me, I'm shielding my head. I'm running for cover because it's going to hurt to get hit by a ball.
He just stood there.
This man stood there still as a bird, just like he was waiting for it to hit him.
Yeah.
And
staring me down.
And the ball just, I mean, missed him just barely. Landed right, like you said, between him and his buddy in the golf cart. And
he still stood there and stared at me. And I kept staring at him, and I was like, I mean,
really?
If I start walking over there, I mean, I guess we're gonna have. I'm gonna have to drop this dude.
When you said 4 and he didn't move, I was just like, here it is. I was trying to get out my phone for a TikTok as quick as possible because I was like, this is gonna be the one.
And you kept looking over, like, what's he doing?
I looked at you, and you're like 4, and then I see the ball going, and I look over at him. And I look back at you, and then look back at him. It was like literally like,
where's the ball? And all of a sudden you hear the ball land by him. He doesn't look to look back to go, oh, there it is. He doesn't. He just knows it lands, and he's still staring at me like, how dare you?
He just got in his cart and went off.
I know.
Anyways, all right, back to Veterans Weekend.
Oh yeah.
Teachers. By the way, school was ridiculous for Veterans Week. Can we move it to Friday?
Yeah.
I mean, like, we had it on Thursday, and everybody got off school in my district. I don't know about other districts.
Yeah.
And then we went back to school Friday. That's a pain. That hurts.
And and I'm sorry, but when the kids, Angelina's kids are living with me, and there's like, oh, Veterans Weekend, I'm probably going to keep them out that Friday too.
Yeah.
And they say, well, why didn't you come in? So, well, we had to go visit Uncle Tommy, who, at least make them go out and see a veteran. You know what I mean?
It's no disrespect to Veterans Day, but there's a lot of holidays that we celebrate on a specific day. It'll be on a day, but we go, okay, we're celebrating it Monday. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. We have Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's always that Monday in October. It changes.
Labor Day, Monday.
Yeah, we change it. Like, and this one's, I think, one that we need to, especially with school and stuff. Thursday. That was just heartbreaking.
I know.
For my kids,
there's not a lot goes on Thursday.
My kids wake up, they're like, yay, no school. And the next day, school, and then the next day, no school. It's just kind of
well,
odd.
I think it should be a mandatory thing. Like, they should do an incentive for the educational purposes. Like, Thursday you're out, but Friday you have the option. You can come to school and we're going to study veteran affairs and stuff, or you can just bring me a receipt from a museum or take pictures or whatever. It's your day. Go visit a veteran in the nursing home. Go visit these people and tell them, hear their stories. A lot of that's the thing I've run into is a lot of veterans don't want to talk about their stories.
Yeah.
But they just want to talk to somebody. And sometimes that's how their stories come out is, like, man, I had a good, this guy comes into our restaurant. His name's Frog.
Frog.
Yeah, he's a Vietnam veteran, like never.
What is that from? There was Froggy. Oh, is that Little Rascals?
I don't know.
Froggy. Like, he had Froggy. Like, he had a voice.
Yeah, he's got a northern accent, but he was in the helicopters in Vietnam, and he's always got the Vietnam veteran hat on, and he's an interesting guy, but he doesn't talk a lot about it. But then every once in a while he'll be like, yeah, my buddy, blah, blah, blah. And he'll go into his buddy, and then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, tragically he was shot, and you're like, oh, he just opened up to you about somebody that was a part of his past that he only knew in Vietnam, and they died.
Froggy was in the R Gang short films from 1940 to 1944. No idea why I know that. Oh, he was from Little Rascals. Okay. Yeah, he was from Little Rascals. Interesting. So, okay. Well, I mean, it is always tragic to hear the veteran stories. And you're right, though. We do need to incorporate a little bit more into schools when it comes to veterans and things like that. That'd be nice. High schools have junior ROTC. They try to do something nice for Veterans Day. I don't know that I've seen that at elementary and middle school level, but we would always go out to the, when I taught, we would always go out to the high school field. And we would have a lot of local veterans come, and we would honor them, and the veterans that were within the school,
right?
And chorus would sing something, orchestra would perform something.
They deserve it because
it's a nice little shindig.
Because there's a lot like I was just telling you before we went on the air. My neighbor who was going to be on my podcast and then decided, nah, I don't want to do it. He's in his 90s. He got to witness the very first hydrogen bomb testing out in the Pacific, and the way he describes it, you see it in his eyes, like this guy, when he saw that, he was never going to see anything more spectacular than maybe when he passes away and sees the pearly gates. That'll be the next time you ever saw eyes light up like that.
Mm.
But he was like, oh, it was just so gigantic. He said, we were, 80 miles away, and the thing felt like it was right on top of us. The heat, and he's just talking about how, like, afterward,
80 miles though is not far.
Yeah, but still, that's.
Is he in the air, on the ground?
No, he was on a ship.
Yeah.
And he says, after it was over with, the guys, the stuff you don't hear, the guys were all in their bunks. He said, man, everybody was quiet. And he said, then one person was like, wow, that was something. And you're right. And everybody, so you hear these stories, and like, I know that like Tom Hanks and some of those directors, that they try to bring as much of that element, that human element to these movies. But hearing the stories firsthand, you can almost feel yourself and the sacrifices, the things that they've seen. And I know that, we talk about Memorial Day and memorializing those that sacrificed, they're no longer with us. And Veterans Day, the ones that are here, and some of those carry a lot of wounds, a lot of scars. And, me personally, just looking for the educational side, since we are a teacher's podcast, I really feel like that there needs to be more education into, the veterans.
What I always had a problem with is that they didn't give us guidance on that respect. And I know that sounds weird, but teachers want freedom to teach what they want. But I also felt like we were kind of that group project sometimes, where they would tell us, hey, this is the general topic. And then we all ended up choosing the same topic. So, like, for example, we have Constitution Day. Every year we have Constitution Day, where it's mandated that we teach the Constitution. Well, they don't tell us what we teach the entire Constitution, part of the Constitution. And you would always have teachers that would choose, 9 out of 10 of them would choose, well, we're going to go over free speech today in class. Let's talk about free speech. And they would all talk about free speech. And then, I'd have class 6th, 7th period, and I'd be like, what'd you guys talk about today? Well, the first 3 periods, we talked about free speech. And then 4th period, we talked about free speech. And then 5th period, we also talked about free speech. And I'm like, there's, more to the Constitution than that. And nobody ever talks about the housing and harboring, nobody ever talks about the, and that's just in the that we're looking at the beginning of the Constitution. Nobody ever talks about the rest of the Constitution.
Yeah. What about the fact that Thomas Jefferson raised geese so that he would have an ample supply of quills?
Yeah, stuff like that. Well, I mean, that's one thing, but I don't know that that's historically relevant. But the thing is that I always felt like we needed more guidance on that. Not necessarily on other stuff, but when you just give us a broad topic and you don't really give us materials or things to like go over, then it always seemed like it was just a waste of time.
I think that there was a class I remember reading a few years ago where they did like a simulation in the class, and the teacher didn't let them know what the simulation was, and just had these random names he called, and these group of guys stood in the front of the classroom, and then he said, all right, he's like, and he went over just one random guy and he grabbed him, and then he grabbed the other guy and made them go to the back of the room, and he said, okay, now the rest of you can go sit back down, but you don't get to enjoy recess anymore. And then they were like, what? And so he was basically simulating what the draft was like, brought them up. So people were like, oh, well, this is random. And that's how it was. And then he's like, hey, these two that are back there that are in the back, those are the people that didn't come back home.
Right.
And the rest of these guys, they don't get to enjoy fun anymore because, they went through something so traumatic that nothing's fun anymore. And try and put this into perspective for like kids, and like the kids are like, oh, okay, that's, it makes more sense. I think that's the kind of stuff that we need to teach more of, like what things are like, because they don't understand. They're like, oh, always think a veteran and everything.
Role playing works well, yeah. I think, but to a certain extent. I don't know that metaphorical role playing works as well. I did with Mr. Murphy's class when I was in high school. We did a feudal game. And I remember it vividly, and I thought it was great. And I learned so much about it. And I don't know if I remember it so vividly because I drew Lord and everybody else drew like peasants and fiefs. And so I was Lord, and like everything benefited me every time in class. Like,
bring this stuff hither.
People would like draw out and they're like, "Oh, I got a pittance today of 3 shillings," and then I'd just be sitting in the back randomly, and they'd be like, "Give the Lord 2," and I'd be like, "Oh, I shall take my cut." It was just awesome to be a lord, and I thought that was the greatest thing in the world.
Oh, this is how trickle down economics works.
Right. You hand me your shillings and I trickle them down into my backpack and we never see them again. And that was basically how it worked. But I thought it was a really fun game, and I learned a lot during that. And I remember that pretty vividly. But again, it might have just been my position. I don't know.
Position of power.
Yeah. All right. Now, let's go into the teachers in the news. Before we jump into the teachers in the news, do not forget, teachers out there, I hear you. There's a lot of problems within your schools, things that are not going well, and you're just frustrated and you think you have no way out. And you do. You can change the course of your school, of the direction of your own future, your own career path. gmercyu University is offering online classes because I know that teachers are busy. We got a lot going on. We can't go attend classes in person. Just log onto your computer and join this top-rated school in one of their 2 options that they have here for teachers to advance your own degree. They have a Master's of Science in Educational Administration, and it has a dual certification. So you get certified in both K-12 principal certification and supervisor of curriculum and instruction certification in as few as 2 years. Fully online, by the way, fully online. And then there's a doctorate of education. You want to take it even higher to the next level. Maybe you're looking at superintendent role in the future. It's award-winning, it's online, and can be completed in under 3 years. And it does have a graduation rate of over 1,000% higher than the national average, with dissertation support from day one. So you're going to have support for that dissertation so that you can, obviously get that degree and go through those classes and have a purpose with that, obviously. Now, just so you're aware, you can find them online at gmercyu.edu, gmercyu.edu, Gwynedd Mercy University. Sign up today and make that your future. And again, I've told you all before, I don't do a lot of sponsorships on here, but I do see a lot of teachers that ask about administrative roles. They want to get into administration. They think they can do a better job, and that's how you do it. To open the door. Gwynedd Mercy University. All right, let's jump into the teachers. Teachers. I always, yay, Gwynedd Mercy University. I do that every single time. It's just celebrating. All right, jumping into teachers in the news.
From classrooms to chaos, we searched high and low for the craziest teacher stories this week. Here are your teachers in the news.
All right, teachers in the news. We have a disheartening story with a good ending with something funny that I think is also in there. A fire unfortunately broke out in a teacher's home, and they lost everything. 2:30 in the morning, hear the fire alarms going off, could smell smoke, jumped out of bed, rushed out the front door to see where the fire was coming from. It was the unit directly behind him. He went in his phone, went to his apartment, tried to grab his phone, and tried rescuing his cats. Unfortunately, could not get his 2 cats. His 2 cats did perish in the fire. Very sad. He tried twice to get back in, just too much smoke. So apparently this fire burned everything. Everything got lost at all. The good news is the community has come together. I will tell you this. He has a $10,000 fundraiser on GoFundMe. It has reached 10,720. If you have an extra like $20 or so,
yeah.
I mean, losing both your cats and all of your belongings. I get that he maybe had insurance, but give him a little bit of padding.
Yeah,
throw 20 more his way if you want. If you go on to GoFundMe, just type in "teacher loses everything in apartment fire," and you'll see that there's so many people that have reached out to help him, and luckily he's reached his goal, but I think he deserves a little bit more for going through that.
Bless that guy's heart.
I tried twice to get in to get the cats, but I will say, so the funny part of this, and there's nothing funny about losing 2 cats in your house.
No,
but when they interviewed him, it was typical dude. When he started talking about things that he's lost, he's like, "I lost a guitar, I had a Craig Biggio and a Jeff Bagwell signed ball. like I'm like looking through this and I'm like, wait a minute, that's the first things that comes to a dude's mind. You know, it's not, oh, I had a TV or a couch or a bed to sleep on. He's like, my Jeff Bagwell ball. You know, like,
and luckily
my
for him,
Fender guitar, man.
Those two guys are in the Hall of Fame, and I'm sure if they hear it, if anybody out there knows Bags and
Biggio,
let them know. If you're in the Houston area, man, somebody reach out and get this guy another ball.
Get him a signed ball.
Hell, man, them two guys probably meet him for lunch over
Dude,
this.
I'll reach out. I'll reach out after this. We'll see if we can get that guy's signed ball. This next one is a pretty cool. Well, it's a pretty cool story.
Wait, what else did he lose? Did he have any bats or anything?
That's all that he chose to mention, which makes me super. Like, it's like, hey, what'd you lose in the fire? Oh, a guitar and 2 baseballs. You know, it's like
for me, it would have been the cat though, because you understand, man. Buddy's my boy,
of course,
and I'd be distraught.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of. You don't play any instruments, do you? So no. I play guitar from time to time. I'm dabbling in drums, and I go online and learn how to play. Sometimes I want to know how to play a song. I go onto YouTube. There's videos there showing you how to play it. So this guy apparently has a pretty good following on YouTube, and last week put out a video tutorial on how to play Jane's Addiction's Been Caught Stealing. Okay, a great song, by the way. Anyways, he's a teacher. He's teaching guitar to his students, and he's doing this video showing how he teaches the students. And he got an interesting phone call. Dave Navarro called him up and said, hey man, it's almost right, and had him correct a little bit of the video. And I thought that was pretty cool. You know, this guy put out a video showing how you play Dave Navarro. He said, you did a great job. He said, it was really awesome, top notch. He said, but there's just one small part that you're missing. And apparently Dave sent the guy a video of him instructing the instructor on how to properly teach the students. And I thought that was so cool, man. That's a pretty cool thing, you know? So I thought it was pretty neat. The YouTuber shared the correction. And I
always wondered if that was going to happen to you, like, because you were amazing at Call of Duty. And I was always wondering, like, he's going to walk into the cafeteria, some kid's going to be playing it on his phone. You're like, hey, come here. Throw the grenade over the top of the umbrella.
Right.
Yeah. See how that works for you.
This isn't apparently the first time that this teacher has been called out. Apparently his videos are really good and he does a great job. But he said that Tommy Iommi called him out one time and said the tone was wrong. So that I guess he was using the wrong pedal or something like that. But the tone was wrong, and called him out in the comment section. That's pretty funny. You always wonder who's watching, you know, because I always think my videos have like 200 million views. Like, I wonder, you know, like, is Jessica Biel like laying in bed at night? Like, it's good. You know, like, you just kind of wonder that thing. Like,
well, I mean, Jim Brewer was a fan of your videos already.
Right. Jim Brewer had already seen my videos. You've been in my videos too. So think about, you know, your shirtless physique is appearing in bed with Jessica Biel on the phone. You know, you technically slept with Jessica Biel. I mean,
I did.
You really did.
I did.
Yeah, that's
Jessica,
the way I would say it.
Jessica, I'm sorry, but I have a smoking hot Italian that I'm sorry.
It's Jessica Biel. Okay.
Yeah, but she can't cook like this girl.
Right. Well, I don't. She's got a chef that can.
And Fantastic Four. Those movies kind of killed her career.
It did. All right. The New Jersey Department of Education has suspended the license of a teacher that was caught drinking alcohol during school. I
that's old school though. There's a lot of teachers that
little bit of vodka, a little sip of vodka. Now here's the interesting thing, and I didn't know this, but apparently her name can't be disclosed, because every time I read one of these, it tells you the name and has the picture. Her name can't be disclosed because she's a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Did you know that?
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So apparently, like, if you slip up and you're in Alcoholics Anonymous, they actually, like, it reaches out to your regular life. They can't publish your name. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, technically, you be a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, get a DUI, flash the card. You know,
and I would use Alcoholics Anonymous for everything.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what happened, dude. He just They just beat the crap out of somebody wearing a
But
Let's
listen,
Go Brandon shirt.
I gotta be
Alcoholics
anonymous.
Anonymous.
I gotta be anonymous.
No one's gonna ruin my life.
But
he told a really bad joke on stage.
Alcoholics
Anonymous.
But
what comic? I don't know.
Yeah, but start your own anonymous group, Comics Anonymous.
Yeah.
But I just think even you could even go up to your exes. Hey, you can't talk about my performance. I'm in a Sexaholics Anonymous or whatever you want to say. Things like that. It's stuff like that. I don't know.
I'd have like a dozen cards on a keychain. Be like, this is the one today.
Serious lapse in judgment, obviously, but apparently they were trying to fire her, but the school board said no, you have to give them a second chance, and I thought that was pretty good. So hopefully, this teacher, whoever they are, they're going through some stuff, and I hope that they get their life together, and that's a good thing. Now, this last one is going to cause a lot of anger, and I do not think this is the last time we'll see something like this. Okay, New Hampshire. Apparently in their budget that they just passed, slipped in a little tiny law. That little tiny law says that teachers cannot teach in their class about race, racism, gender, or sexism in their classes. They have apparently banned all teachings of a group inherently superior or inferior to other people, a group inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive, a group that should be discriminated against or receive adverse treatment. A group should not treat members of other identified groups equally. The incorporated apparently in this year's budget slipped by. Well, here's the interesting thing. Not only did it slip by, but now there's been a bounty put on teachers. There is the Department of Education in New Hampshire has created a form for you to submit anonymously your complaints against teachers if they talk about anything you dislike in the class that you think might fall under that law. And then the Moms for Liberty New Hampshire chapter has put a $500 bounty on the head of any teacher that you catch breaking that law.
That makes me mad as hell.
This is absolutely like enraging.
That is the most. It just sounds like straight up the most widest privilege thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
It's very frustrating to read stuff like this. But
so the kids that graduate from there, they're going to be like, "Hey, did you learn about the Underground Railroad?" And they'll be like, "Is that like a subway?"
Yeah, because they're not going to know, because teachers aren't going to want to walk that line.
Yeah.
And these discussions come up in class all the time. I mean, just in government class alone, we were actively passing laws in government that have to do with race and have to do with gender and have to do with trans in the military, things like that.
How is the Supreme Court not going to overrule this?
Having discussions on that stuff. Well, we'll see. I don't know if anybody's going to challenge it, but hopefully they will. But they put it under the umbrella of critical race theory and say, well, we're not allowed to teach critical race theory. But it seems far more reaching than critical race theory. And also it's coming from people that just don't understand what critical race theory is. I think that the biggest problem that we ever had was naming it critical race theory, because it just sounds so threatening to these people that don't want to take time out to do the research. But the tweet that they put out says, this is from Moms for Liberty, New Hampshire. We've got $500 for the person that first successfully catches a public school teacher breaking this law. Students, parents, teachers, school staff, we want to know! Exclamation point. We will pledge anonymity, and I hate that word. Yeah. Anonymity. If you want. I hate anonymity. That is the hardest word for me to pronounce. I say it wrong every time. But anyways, this is the part where it angers me even more. Not only do they put out that ridiculous tweet putting a bounty on people's heads, people start to match it. And somebody says, how do we contribute more to this bounty? PayPal us. And they literally have the PayPal for them and put CRT bounty in the notes. They're literally calling it a bounty. Do you know what a bounty?
One of my favorite people in this world is a bounty hunter, and it's not Dog. His name is Boba.
I get so mad reading this, and I fear for the educators. I really do, because they're just I mean, what do you do at that point? What do you do? I honestly think you just literally sit back, put on Disney Plus, play Nat Geo, and call it a year.
This is how I see you leaving New Hampshire if you were a teacher. And giving a DX chop to the whole state and being like, I'm gonna go teach somewhere else because
so frustrating.
This is so
I don't even know how to respond to that. I don't have a response to that. I just think that and obviously the teachers unions are outraged. The teachers are outraged.
Somebody should put a bounty on the teacher. Those people that put the bounty on. Well, I'm gonna put a bounty on you.
It makes me so mad too that they just slide it in. That's the part I hate. Is we keep this is in the budget. So you either vote for the budget or you don't. But you're not voting for the budget. You're voting for the budget with this. Like they cloak it in there. They pork up the budget and then have these little earmarks and they go, hey, this is what you gotta, this is what you have now. Surprise.
Like here in Florida when they passed the no offshore drilling, but attached to that was the cannot use your cell phone while driving.
Yeah, always.
It was the same. I mean, I was like, how is this? What is this? This is on the same bill.
Right.
And we voted for it. And I was like, well, I like hands free, but I don't know how I feel about this drilling. I think we need to drill.
Right. I agree. Now I wanted to talk to this last bit. I thought this was cool. So I looked online and I thought about this. Oh, by the way, I shot my shot. They always say, shoot your shot. I shot my shot. I went ahead and let's see. What I did was I messaged Jim Gaffigan's manager. Because I want to open for Jim Gaffigan. I love Jim Gaffigan.
Right.
And I think he's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good comic.
I'm hoping that he responds. I really would like to open for Jim Gaffigan. That's I can't get on Ellen. That's not going to happen. It's her final season.
Dude, I thought the Kelly Clarkson show thing
I did too. I just haven't heard back from anything. So it's frustrating. But Gaffigan is up there. I saw online, though, some pretty cool stuff. So shout out to Home for the Troops, by the way. Homes for our troops. Sorry, they're building homes for troops. And Veterans Day, they had a big auctions online on eBay. Did you see any of them?
No.
So these were like cool once in a lifetime experiences that I was like, oh man, that's pretty cool. Some of them went for a huge amount of money. Some went for okay amount of money, but it's all people donating their time, but some pretty cool items too. So most of the things were half-hour Zoom calls with celebrities. One of them was Jim Gaffigan. His ended for like $1,500. I almost was like, man, I could throw some money aside and pay to talk to Gaffigan. But then I'd feel weird asking him to open for him in that particular. I feel like I'd put pressure on him. I don't want to put pressure on him.
Like, Jim, I just paid $1,500 to open for you. Come on now.
Exactly. But half-hour call with Sean Penn went for $1,200. I thought that would go for more. To sit for a half an hour and talk to an acclaimed actor and director. I would think there'd be somebody with like career aspirations that would want to talk to somebody like that. I was looking at it from a professional standpoint. What can I get from them? Not like dude, you're awesome. Can you imagine for half an hour? Dude, you remember when you like literally the Chris Farley interview?
No, that's how I would do it. With Sean Penn, I'd be like,
that was cool, man.
Hey, I just paid this money. You have to talk to me in your Fast Times at Ridgemont High voice the whole time.
Right. So there's some pretty cool ones. So this one is really cool. The Bat from Jeffrey Dean Morgan, like holding it in Walking Dead. The Bat went for sale.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was autographed by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, the Bat from Walking Dead.
With the barbed wire and everything.
Yeah, with the barbed wire and everything. I don't think they had the barbed wire. A rare autographed Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker's Star Wars figurine went for $3,000. Whoopi Goldberg's gold shoes from one of her movies that she was in, probably gold shoes. I don't know what that would be from.
Sister Act.
I was thinking Sister Act too.
Or Burglar.
The Zune.
That was a good
from
movie.
Star-Lord Zune. Signed by the whole entire cast on the back, but the actual Zune from the movie. I thought that was pretty cool.
Guardians 2.
Yeah, autographed Will Ferrell, Ron Burgundy jockey briefs. I thought that was kind of neat.
That would be on a man cave.
Yeah, half-hour Zoom calls with like Trevor Noah, Will Zeiss, Tom McCarthy. They had tickets to The View, half day on the set for The Chosen. Okay, that's interesting. Basic firearms training taught by Stephen Gutowski, who's like the host of a big I don't know, something. The highest price items were VIP tickets and meet and greet with Stephen Colbert. 15 grand. That's not bad. But that was pretty huge. A half-hour call with Sarah Silverman went for almost $5 grand.
I'll pass.
I like her. I like her. But they got autographed bats. Interesting. Handwritten lyrics from Richard Marx. That's cool.
Oh.
But the one, Randy Rainbow went for $5,500 to meet with Phil Rosenthal in LA. That's pretty cool.
What about the gavel that Harry Anderson used in Night Court? Was that available?
No, Patton Oswalt, half hour. The one thing that I thought was absolutely like really cool is they have, and I'm trying to find it because I want to see how much it went for.
The truck from the Fall Guy.
Zoom call with Jon Stewart. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that'd be
Johnny
cool.
Knoxville, Jimmy Kimmel, Jim Gaffigan went for $2 grand. So $2 grand, that's not bad. Half hour call with Jerry Seinfeld and Colin Quinn.
Oh wow,
that'd be cool. That'd be neat to see. I bet, and that went for $5 grand. I would have thought that would have went for more. Jason Sudeikis went for more than Seinfeld. Okay.
Oh wow.
James Marsden. Harry Winkler. That's pretty cool.
Oh, the Fonz.
Yep. They got a bunch.
I would just be like, hey, I spent this money. I just want you for the next 30 minutes just to say, hey, and then just act like you're hitting a jukebox.
Here's a pretty cool one. 2 tickets to a future Marvel movie premiere. You pick. $8,000. That'd be cool to go to the Marvel movie premiere.
The resurrection of Tony Stark, or something crazy.
Dave Matthews Band VIP went for pretty high too. Zoom call with Conan O'Brien, 10 grand. Woo! A Zoom call with the entire cast of Band of Brothers. That's pretty neat. I gotta say, I wouldn't know what to do though. You're in a Zoom call with like 10 other people, you know. Yeah. So where's the one that I just thought would go for so much money, and I still don't see it. Oh, they had a George Clooney's Omega Speedmaster 50th anniversary Snoopy watch, and it was 34 grand. That was a big one. Oh, see, I thought this would go for higher. When you think John McCain, what do you think of when you think of him visually?
Oh, I think of him.
What do you wear all the time?
That suit.
No.
Tie. I don't know.
His Navy hat. Like his Navy hat.
Oh yeah.
The actual hat. Apparently
when he would
daughter
be out in
donated
public,
it.
yeah.
His daughter donated the Navy hat, the actual hat that he wore on all the campaign trails and at all the speaking engagements and everything. I went for $6 grand.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Then of course there's a lot of sports stuff. The sports Cardinals chipped in a bunch of things like that. Kind of neat. I don't know. Julia Louis-Dreyfus half-hour Zoom call. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool the things that they were able to come up with and make happen. So, but looks like honestly they raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for Homes for the Troops. So shout out to them. Pretty cool.
And think about it. What's the number one person you think of whenever they build houses that's famous?
When they build houses is famous. I mean, obviously you have to talk about the former president of the United States.
Exactly. Yeah. That's who I think of every time something like this happens.
Jimmy Carter, he does a lot for Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool,
super cool.
Awesome.
Gosh, man, what an awesome president he really. I mean,
the people that when you start to study the history of it, he was too timid.
Yeah,
he kind of was more like let the economy do what it wants, let the people do what they want. I don't know what he was a little too nice, maybe inexperienced for the job.
But I felt like he did more after his presidency, way more.
I wasn't alive. I don't know. I'm just going by what I see.
I just remember my parents not voting for Reagan. We're voting for Mondale Ferraro, and I'm like, who are they? Well, you'll learn later in life.
Right. All right, guys. DevinComedy.com for all upcoming tour dates. There are new ones there. I'm going to be in Port St. Lucie this coming weekend. I've got a show down there. What do you got, Greg?
I've got shows coming up Black Friday and Black Saturday in Winter Park, and got new episodes of Made in America coming up.
Yeah, we're going to be recording some of those tomorrow. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. Be sure to sign up on the Patreon, and we'll be back next week.
Go Cowboys.
Be sure to subscribe and rate this podcast 5 stars. Submit all your awesome teacher stories to cryinginmycar@gmail.com and check out Devin on tour. Info and merch can be found at devincomedy.com. Support the podcast on patreon.com/cryinginmycar and get exclusive weekly bonus episodes. And tune in every week for more hilarious stress relief for teachers right here on Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers.